I would open it out to the floor from the developers who have joined us today. Do you consider open source something that is required when you're looking at different security APIs to integrate into your different applications?
You probably have to call out a name, put somebody on the spot.
Oh, only because Ben Hoffman's mic isn't mute. I'll ask Ben first.
Yeah, so I mean, I like to be able to, at least in theory, audit security related code. And that's why I like open source code. Now in practice, I don't really read through it very much. I just trust that like the people who are providing it like do audit it. The phrase, given enough eyeballs, all bugs become shallow is, I think, kind of vital, especially on something security related.
That's really good feedback. Ben, before I go to the next person, do you have any other resources that you currently look at as a trusted kind of advisor in terms of deciding what APIs you do use and where you go to research those?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, our product doesn't have a ton of APIs. It's like external API calls in it right now. We're still kind of working on the core of the product. So when it comes time to start building more integrations with other systems, I guess the way that I would approach it is, you look at the biggest providers out there and you just have to assume that they have enough money to throw at security.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. I'll just ask a few more people and then we'll go on to the next question. Matthew, I'm wondering on your point, how important having an API that has been open sourced is when you're deciding whether or not to use it. And then the second question is, outside of whether that API is open source, where do you go to find your information when you're looking for a new API?
Wow, but on the spot. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat with the last with Ben, where we don't leverage a ton of external APIs. Definitely open source is a factor in the decision, but it's usually something that we're able to take and propose to our security team, and have them validate whether or not it's going to be healthy and appropriate for us to use.
Well, thank you. Is there a reason why you guys aren't using external? Is it because you're focusing on the core product right now, or are you against using external APIs?
Yeah, we're just focusing on core essentially, and plan to integrate API stuff down the road. But until we get our core offering more rounded out, we don't have opportunity to use much of the fancier things that we'd like to.
No, that's really valuable. Matt, do you have any websites or platforms or educational sources that you use when you're looking for new APIs?
No, I just like to read the actual API documentation myself. That's usually where I start, and then it's always nice to see if there's a solid community built up, so you could see if there's a blog or any other kinds of frequently asked questions that you might be able to short circuit some of the earlier questions you might have while assessing the API. Sorry for the screaming cat in the background.
Oh no, that's okay. My dog is here too. He is always whining. Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah,
and
welcome.
I'll ask one more person before I pass it back to Junaid. Karan, I'm wondering your perspective from a open source perspective first. Is that an important factor to you when you're making a decision about using an API, and specifically in security?
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely, it's an important factor, because see, if I talk about myself, I can probably correlate with what Apurva said. I'm not a code developer, to be honest, but I know how the things works at the back end and how the things should work. I am currently or mostly working on microservices, and it's very important for microservices to have an API so that different components of a microservices can talk to each other. And when it comes to API selection, it depends. It depends, and because I have a huge team, and it's not just one person responsibility to look for the APIs, securities, and which APIs to use, which API not to use. We work as a team, and there are different guys within a team who provide their input, and then probably with the client and with the stakeholders and with the C-level, not with the C-level executive, but probably the higher management. We sit together and then we discuss the ways of having a better APIs. But personally, if I talk about myself, I've used one of the website which is called Technology Advice, which probably wherein you can probably get like some APIs, good APIs, and what are the important factors, how the security concern would get improved and all that. So this is what my say is.
Well, I really appreciate that. That's really good. I actually haven't heard of that website. So shortly after this meeting, I'll definitely be checking that one out. And I'll pass it back to Junaid now to further discuss everything that we've been talking about today. And Junaid, I'm going to put you on the spot now, since you've been putting everyone else on the spot. Would you be able to describe to everyone on the call the importance of zero trust and why? And Junaid has, he was involved in the original zero trust that came to market many years ago. And his focus was really moving away from focusing on securing the network to the data. Junaid, I'd love you to describe to everyone on the call today why you think that is so important, and how using it from an API perspective allows companies to integrate security a lot easier.
Well, from my perspective, it's pretty simple. We wouldn't be having this call or be talking about zero trust if the existing security solutions are working, and they're not at a massive scale. Every few weeks we have a massive ransomware attack, of which credential theft is the oldest security hack, but still lethal. We have all kinds of security vulnerabilities in our power grid, in our infrastructure. So the question is, what's wrong here? And here's my perspective. You have the software developer ecosystem, which is $1 trillion ecosystem. It's gigantic. It's the biggest technology ecosystem on the planet, right? Literally millions of developers creating everything, counting. And living off of that software developer ecosystem are industries that support it, like the server industry, the cloud compute industry, the mobile phone manufacturing industry, and the security industry. And what's happening is people are writing their code, finishing their product, and then they hand it over to somebody. Could be a government agency, it could be a bank, could be a accounting company. And then that customer, the end user, then buys security products to secure it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work because at best, the security people are putting on Band-Aids or doing some kind of protection. At worst, they're doing something totally useless and doesn't stop the cyber attack, as we see in ransomware. So my interest in zero trust is not just the model, but embedding zero trust into the software application, which I think is a game changer. So that is, what if we as system designers, as software developers on this call, could integrate security into the application software, so it's already there. I think that can be a huge game changer for everybody.